Hello, welcome to ballin'burgers. My name is Colin. I'll be your entertainment for this afternoon, so sit right down and enjoy the show. Hey Mikey, hey everyone. So I got a great new episode for you. So Mikey, you kind of asked me about Pokemon Go, if I'm still going strong and everything like that with Pokemon Go. And I'm going to answer all your questions about Pokemon Go in this episode and what I'm doing with Pokemon Go. So with Pokemon Go, actually I have a great story. During the summer when it first came out, I was like super into it, walking around all the time. But then later on in the summer, I didn't really do much with it. I kind of stopped playing just because my friends weren't really playing and walking around. But now that class and school has started here at NIU, I've been walking around to my classes and stuff like that. So I can hit those Pokestops all the time. I hit the Pokestops all the time, and whenever I'm walking to class, I pop my phone out and I open up the app and I start playing Pokemon Go. So with Pokemon Go, generally what people have been saying is the more people around a certain area playing Pokemon Go at the same time, generally you're going to get a lot rarer Pokemon, and that is definitely true here at NIU. So many people are playing Pokemon Go here on campus. It's amazing. And I think part of the reason that is because there are a ton of Pokestops around. So people are walking to the Pokestops and they're activating them, getting the stuff, compared to when they're back at home, they may not necessarily have had a lot of Pokestops. So now that they're here at school, they're walking around a lot more, getting the Pokestops and things like that. And since more people are playing, rare Pokemon are coming out. Case in point, this morning, I was walking to class and a wild Snorlax appeared. Just blew my mind. The wild Snorlax appeared just out of nowhere. I caught it and it was a 1300 level CP Snorlax, which I was like, heck yeah, my strongest Pokemon to date right now. So that got me really excited. And also there was a wild Slowbro while I was sitting in class. I was in my classroom waiting for class to start. It was 5 minutes until the class started. And all of a sudden a wild Slowbro appeared right in the building. And I just was like, heck yeah, and I caught it. It was an amazing thing, but you know, it's another Pokemon to add to my Pokedex. So I thought that was really cool. So Pokemon here is just booming, and I'm loving it. To be honest, I'm really loving it. Another thing that I've really enjoyed playing Pokemon here at NIU is that the gyms are really good now. The gyms are definitely being changed over a lot. So a lot of people fighting over it. There's a lot of Team Valor, Mystic, and a lot of Instinct too, I've noticed. I think a lot of people by the sports complex and things like that, it's always Team Yellow, Team Instinct. So I think a lot of the people that are in the sports teams, the football teams and all those other teams, they play Pokemon Go. And they're always over by the sports complex, so they always fight for the gym. And I saw a gym that was 20,000 prestige, like 20,000 prestige points or whatever it is. So it was like a prestige 8 or something like that, somewhere around there. So I got in there and I hopped on, and it was like 100 prestige points away from hopping up to the next tier. So I battled it, trained it up, I guess, and put my own Pokemon in there, which was really cool. And then there's a Pokemon gym right by the main part of campus where the academic buildings are, and I was there, and when I got out of class, I saw it was an empty, it was just no color gym. I ran over there real quick, tried to like put my Pokemon in there, but unfortunately that did not happen. Someone else put it in before me. So then what happened, I forgot what it was. I think it was a Team Mystic or something like that. It is one of the teams. It is either Team Valor or Team Mystic. I fought the gym, beat it, and I was just about to put a Pokemon in when someone from the other team slipped their Pokemon real quick in. So that kind of made me mad, but whatever, I stuck with it. I'm like, alright, it's only one Pokemon, I can do this. Took that Pokemon down, and then I put my Pokemon in there, and all of a sudden, then there was a whole bunch of people on this Team Instinct gym and started throwing their Pokemon in too. And it was really cool to see how many Instinct people that were actually around, that they're, close enough. And I mean, I didn't really see any people like legit like staying there, playing or anything like that. I just saw, so maybe it's like people walking by or something like that. But that's still really cool how that can happen in an instant, and the gym takeovers can happen in an instant. So the gyms, especially that gym right in the center of campus, is just constantly changing hands. So I would say after every like 50 minutes or so on Mondays and Wednesdays, because that's the class rotation, roughly about 50 minutes. So when the class is let out, everyone comes out, and then it's a free-for-all for that gym, which is really cool, really interesting. That gym is constantly under attack, but it's really cool to see. There's a couple of other gyms around that I can see that are yellow. A lot of yellow gyms out here, which I'm happy for because I'm not the only yellow person then. I was afraid when school started up it's just going to be only Team Valor, but it seems that that is not the case. Sure, there are, I would say, a lot more red gyms. Like during the summer there was a ton of red gyms, but now that school started, it's not as common anymore. And what I'm noticing to see is Team Mystic has kind of fallen off. I don't see as many Team Mystic gyms anymore. It's generally yellow or red, which is kind of something interesting and something to look at. However, I do have some concerns that we need to talk about. I just read an article saying how the Pokemon Go servers, or the people that use the app, has drastically fallen. There's been, I don't know, ever since it came out, there's been like 12 million people playing it, and that has dropped off a lot. A lot of people have stopped playing, so those casual players have kind of stopped playing and doing anything with it. They're just like, whatever, I don't really care. I just wanted to catch the Pokemon, and now I'm not seeing any new Pokemon. So there is that. A lot of people are not playing the game anymore, but there are a few people that still play it. For me, for instance, I still play it, and sure, I may catch the same Pokemon, but again, there are some times that you get those rare Pokemon. For instance, the Snorlax and the Slowbro. Those are kind of rare Pokemon, so that was actually really cool. And I don't necessarily think that the Niantic needs to bring in something new right now, but I do know that they're working on bringing Gen 2 into the mix. I don't know how well that's going to go. I think that they should wait a little bit longer, just because I think they should wait a little bit longer, because there's a lot of Pokemon that some people haven't caught. For instance, me, there's a lot of Pokemon I haven't evolved yet. And that's just because I don't go out and explore more of DeKalb as I should. I generally stay around and I use campus and things like that. So if I explored more, maybe I could get more evolved Pokemon and stuff like that, expand my Pokedex. I think right now I'm at like 60 or so Pokemon, somewhere around there. So that's something that I'm okay with. I'm okay with being around 60. I mean, granted, I would love to catch all 151, but I know that's going to be a tall, tall order. I think what they need to do before they introduce Gen 2 is Niantic needs to start getting those from the trailers and everything like that, where everyone in Times Square goes and fights Mewtwo. I think they need to start doing something like that, where it's community battles instead of just gyms where it's separated between your teams. I think they need to have something like a community battle where all the teams can come together to face one thing. So maybe, a Team Rocket base or something like that, where it just pops up and you can't do any Pokestops or any gyms until the Team Rocket base is defeated. And I think that would really bring the community together to try and go after this one thing. So maybe not necessarily do the legendary Pokemon or something like that, but do these, Team Rocket bases or something like that. I think that'd be a really interesting dynamic. In keeping up with that, in the theme of trying to do something to bring people back in, Niantic needs to work on the Pokemon trading system. They have talked about it in prior, interviews and, articles and stuff like that. They say, hey, we're going to introduce trading and all this stuff. Well, where is it? I think before they release Gen 2, they need to figure out trading. Like, that is so important, and that's almost the cornerstone of Pokemon. Is if you want to build, a team, for instance, let's say you want to build a team, a competitive team on the Pokemon games, you need to kind of trade to get certain Pokemon to, breed them and things like that. So they need to introduce trading. Once they introduce trading, I think a lot more people will come in, because then they'll say, hey, I can get some Pokemon that I've never seen before that I want to get. So I want to be able to get a Kangaskhan, but the only way I can do it is to get a 10-kilometer egg. Well, 10-kilometer eggs are kind of few and far between, and the chances of you getting a Kangaskhan are like 1 in 10 or something like that. So I think they really need to work that out and fix that. So I talked about the eggs and stuff like that. Just briefly touched on it, where the only way you can get a Kangaskhan is through a 10-kilometer egg. Well, I had a 10-kilometer egg that I, started incubating a couple days ago, and it just hatched this morning as I was walking to class. And I was excited. I was like, yes, let's get a rare Pokemon. Oh yeah, I want to like fill out my Pokedex a little bit more. And lo and behold, it hatches and I get a damn Eevee. And that just frustrates me to no end because I can see Eevees all around me all the time, and I use campuses full of Eevees. There's a bunch of Eevees. I mean, they're not popping up all over the place like Weedles and Pidgeys and Rattatas, but it's still quite common over here. So to be honest, I would much rather in my opinion, they need to take Eevee off the 10-kilometer egg and put it into a 5-kilometer egg. I think that would help out a lot more. I know there's already a lot of Pokemon in the 5K section, but still, I want to be having a 10-kilometer egg and not have a Tier 1 Eevee. That kind of, I mean, granted it hatched into a 400 level Eevee, 400 CP Eevee, which was good, but there's also something to consider besides CP, and I'll get into that right now. So sometimes some people, especially if you play competitively through the Pokemon games, there are two values that Pokemon have, IVs and EVs. IVs are individual values and then EVs are effort values. So these are secret hidden stats that you cannot see. You can kind of calculate them. So there's IVs are stats that are boosted automatically through the Pokemon. It's just something that it already has. And those are the ones that you want to focus on. Those are the only ones you can focus on in Pokemon Go. IVs are your individual values for your stats. So there's also two other stats that you can't see in Pokemon Go, and that's attack and defense. You can see everything else. You can see the CP level, and you can see the HP of the Pokemon, but you can't see the attack and defense. So that's where IVs come into play. So your IVs, the higher the IVs, the better your attack is going to be and your defense is going to be. So you want a Pokemon, generally you want a Pokemon with high, IVs. So there's a way that you can do that. Now in the app you have the appraisal is what it's called. You click on the Pokemon, you hit the menu button when you have the Pokemon up, and you hit appraisal, and then your team leader will come out and they'll say, hey, this Pokemon is really good, or hey, this Pokemon kind of sucks. It doesn't really, have anything. So there's been some people trying to figure out how to do this, and there's actually one person that has actually figured out how to do this. So there's an app / also a website that you can go to, and you can download this thing, and it'll actually calculate your IVs. It'll tell you the percentage of your perfect IVs, if you have perfect IVs or if you don't. So the app / website is called Pokefind. I'm going to put it up right here, and I'm also going to put it in a link in the description for you. And you can download this on your phone. You can also go on the website. So if you're at home and you're not necessarily walking around and you have some Pokemon that you just caught and you want to come back and you want to see if it's good. So what you do is you go in and you type in, you say what Pokemon it is first of all, and then you type in its CP level, you type in its HP, and then you type in how much, what is it called, Stardust it's going to take to level it up, and then you say, have you leveled this Pokemon up, yes or no? And generally, it's a bad idea to level it up, so you just say no, because you shouldn't level your Pokemon up yet. And then it'll tell you your percent value. It'll say, hey, this Pokemon has 54%, this Pokemon has 89% perfect IVs. So that's something that you want to go and look in training besides just your CP level. Sure, CP level can be helpful and you can have a high CP Pokemon, but IVs play a super important role as well. So for instance, me, I had I don't know what it was, but I had a couple of Pokemon and I had a really super high CP Pokemon, but its IVs were like in the 30s. And then I go to a 41 CP Pokemon and then I check its IVs and it's like, oh, 89% IV perfection rate. And I was like, so that Pokemon, even though it had a lower CP rating, it had better IVs. It had a better percentage of perfect IVs. So that Pokemon is technically better than the higher leveled CP Pokemon. Sure, it has better stats, but the only reason why it has better stats is because it has a high CP. So got rid of that Pokemon and leveled up the lowered one, the like 41 or whatever I said CP Pokemon. I leveled that up to like the 200 or whatever it was, and now it's a powerhouse. And once I evolve it, those IVs stick with it. So now I'm going to have a super powerful evolved Pokemon. Even though it started out as a low CP, you can train it up. So that's why your Stardust now is super important. So your Stardust, you need to save it. So I know you don't want to catch those Rattatas and Pidgeys and all that, but if you do catch those Pokemon, you get Stardust. So it's important that you constantly keep up your stockpile of Pokeballs and things like that. So NIU, I never have a problem with not having Pokeballs because there's so many Pokestops around here. So I have Pokeballs all the time. So I'm now more inclined to catch all these Pidgeys and Rattatas to get my Stardust up so I can level up those Pokemon that were really low CP to make them a powerhouse in, just in the game. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I had fun making it. So I would really appreciate your support and everything like that. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up down below. Please and thank you. Don't forget, if you want to see more of our content, look at more of our other videos in the past. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're always looking for more subscribers. I'm excited. Our subscribers are growing. We're kind of getting here and there. So don't forget, please, please, please subscribe to us. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later.